Welcome to the Finjan Show. I'm your host, Faris Alami, and today I'm delighted to have Linda with us. And looking forward to having conversations with Linda and sharing her journey, setting up an institute in a mix of all kinds of good stuff. So I can't wait to hear and dig deep with Linda about her journey. So thanks for being here, Linda. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you, Faris.
Yeah. So first of all, tell us who's Linda. Let the audience is here. Who's Linda and what do you do?
So I'm Linda Lausell Bryant. I am a clinical associate professor and director of our doctorate in social work program at New York University School of Social Work. In that context, I work to set up an institute together with my colleague Mark Manischel on it's an institute for adaptive leadership in human services. So let me give you a little background on that. I'm a social worker by training, and I recognize that in all of the work that I've done in senior administrative roles, including being the executive director of a nonprofit agency, that my social work training did not contain anything on leadership development. And now as a professor of social work, I recognize that that's missing from the curriculum. So that is an issue I really wanted to be able to address, because social workers are called to address some of the biggest problems in society: homelessness, poverty, racial inequality, economic inequality.
Easy stuff.
Just the easy stuff, exactly. So we need to be equipped with leadership capabilities, and we need to be able to exercise leadership in order to really bring about the kind of progress we want to see. So working with my colleagues as a new professor at NYU, it meant going about this very carefully, not getting on a chair and announcing that I was going to start something, but rather quietly securing funding. Developing the concept and the strategy for implementation. So I would say that certainly took a level of entrepreneurial drive and mindset, exactly, to get that done, and building it in building blocks, incrementally. So starting small, just introducing these ideas in a couple of classes, moving from that to developing private funding, a fellowship program for graduate social work students, and then proposing a standalone elective course, bringing that into the doctoral program where it became a required course, and continuing to build out from those core building blocks additional support for people who had already graduated with their degrees and were out working in the field, but really felt like they needed support to exercise leadership in their new roles.
Love it. I love something you said, and I want to take you back if you don't mind.
Sure.
Which is you were quiet about setting it up. And a lot of times entrepreneurs, at least they might think that you have to let the whole world know, which is maybe true in some texts, but maybe not true in some others. In your case, was all about being strategically quiet and building those blocks to make this happen.
Exactly. And you make more of an announcement when there's a lot more to announce.
Powerful. I think that's amazing. I think a lot of times we might just get too excited about something and not really have, I call it, depth before we make the announcements. And then the announcements happens, and then 2 months later, I'm like, what are you doing with that? Oh, I'm not doing it. So, but you announce that you're doing it. Sounds like your insight would be build it up, get some momentum, and make an announcement.
Yeah.
I think that's a very powerful statement. It sounded like to me you also worked, I'm going to call it the ecosystem, to get the support that you needed to make it work. So not the whole world needed to know, but the important key players within the ecosystem that could support your launch, funding, strategic partners, all those things. You align those, not worrying about the big picture, but focusing on the details of the picture of what you're trying to build.
Exactly. And being able to then demonstrate the impact of what that was doing, right? Which makes it easier to have people be supportive of what you're doing.
Love it. So you have to get their buy-in as well. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Wow. So in that journey, and you know what, just watching the time, just make sure that we take a short break. And then I'd love to have, when we come back, I'd love to hear a little bit about what was maybe one of your downs that you felt like this will never happen. I don't think it's gonna ever unfold. And maybe one of your ups where you felt the world is opening up and it's finally gonna happen, or you want something, I'm not sure. I'll let you decide.
Okay.
So let's take a short break and we'll be right back, but I'll give you a minute to think through those things.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be right back after this short message. Thanks for being here. Welcome back. Thanks again for being here. This is Faris Alami. I'm your host with Finjan Show, and today continuing the conversation with Linda, and she's going to share with us maybe one of your downs that you felt like the world is ending, and maybe one of your ups. We'll start with the downs. When did you feel like one of them, at least, that you felt this is not working, or something else?
Yeah. So I've been working on building support for this work when there was a change in the dean.
Oh, wow.
And so the dean who had brought me in was stepping down, a new person, an interim was coming in, and there was the sense of like everything's on hold because we have
A new dean.
we have to wait for the new dean to come in, and then and there's actually been a couple of dean transitions in the past few years.
Wow.
And so that really felt like a down, like, oh boy, I'm going to have to keep starting from the beginning in terms of explaining what this is, why we do it, and pursuing that support on an in a larger institutional level. But I would say that based on my experience coming from a family of immigrants, my family's from Puerto Rico,
Okay.
we're kind of used to obstacles.
Okay.
We're used to things not being easy, and we're plucky. We keep pushing.
Sure.
Anyway,
Sure.
so you stay focused, you keep growing it. So when we do have the next new dean, I'll be able to say it's now at this level,
Yeah.
right? Here's the history. This whole initiative is now at this level, and it's really great for the school. So how about getting on board?
Wow. And that alone feels like needs its own show, right? Because I mean, I feel like, I think these are awesome, as we all know, they each come with their own agenda. So sometimes you're trying to fit into their agenda of what they're trying to do, and then the president of the university might be asking them to have a different agenda, and then now you're trying to sell your agenda. It might look like you're not necessarily fitting in the bigger picture, or you have to modify your picture to fit in. That's a whole nother story. I think we're gonna keep it for now.
Yes,
on the
I'll just
side.
say one thing about that, which it does connect to one of the things that we learn in the adaptive leadership framework, which is really understand the system that you're a part of.
Sure.
And understand what drives them, right? What are the things that they value?
Love
So
it.
if I want to really have them be supportive of what I'm doing, I know what my agenda is, but let me take the time to understand theirs.
Got it.
What makes them tick? What would be, what's important to them? So it's not just what's important to me, and then try to find an alignment of those things.
Love that insight. I think that's a great insight for also when you're running your business to understand what does the customer want, which is what I want to offer.
Absolutely.
And meeting them, I would say, meet them where they are, not where you want them to be.
And meet them where they are is a principle of social work.
Oh,
It
really?
always says meet the client where they are.
Okay.
You don't start and say like, you know what you need to do? You need to begin to, where are they now?
Yeah.
And meet them there. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're
So maybe you could share with us now one of your ups, like where you feel the doors are opening, things are happening, and you feel like you're on cloud nine, or whatever sample you want to give us.
Well, just this September, I took over our doctorate in social work program,
Okay.
and I think there's a wonderful opportunity there
Mhm.
to have students who are students, but also experienced practitioners in the field and
Sure.
professionals,
Sure.
to have these concepts take a stronger hold within the school.
Okay.
These students often supervise master's level students.
Okay.
And so I think that they're going to be a really key resource for advancing this work in terms of the research that can be done, in terms of their practice and their managerial roles. So I'm excited about the possibilities.
Wow, that gave me goosebumps. It sounds like a whole new world that could be opening up.
I think so.
Then hopefully it'll impact more than the community that you're serving today,
Yeah.
because it sounds like, this could be a much bigger reach
We
all the different
absolutely see it that
collaborations.
way. I mean, our goal is to really be able to impact, as we were saying, some of these pressing challenges that the field of social work is constantly dealing with.
Sure.
And we want to be able to have a greater impact and make greater progress on these things.
Well, clearly we can keep you here for days. Just, and I want to say thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today and sharing with the audiences some of these amazing insights. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Faris.
Okay. Till next show, Faris Alami, Finjan Show. Have a good day.